Where do you start if you want to change the world? Is it by seeing a nation become energy self sufficient? Helping charities to be as productive as businesses? By using their talents to give them a livelihood? Big changes like these can start with something small, like asking better questions. So where do you start if you want to change the world? You start right here.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Chief channel. Joining you today is myself, your host, Aaron Lee, as well as a familiar face, none other than the chief of the channel, Big Chief himself. Big Chief, please unmute yourself as you welcome in the audience. Welcome, everyone.
How
How?
everybody?
Uh, well, Big Chief, I think
You.
as we go on to our day-to-day lives, there's a lot of times where we would experience some form of mental block, and I just came up with a random name. I thought it would make sense to call it the muted mind, where we would, when, let's say, we're trying to accomplish a task, either you can't think of the solution, or you just get too distracted with other thoughts that that disrupt your mind. And I thought that maybe this would be a very relevant topic to our audience, as well as whoever's watching, because it is part and parcel of daily life, and everyone would experience it, right?
Yeah, correct. So your question is
Well, where do we start? The thing is, the mind is such an expansive topic. And the last time we actually covered a little bit about what the mind is, and um, how, just thinking of something is basically already a step towards achieving whatever you want to achieve, right? And the thing is, but along that path, there are a lot of distractions in the mind. Um, Chief, would you be able to share a few examples of the more common distractions in your mind? Like, let's say we want to attract.
distractions. You want to talk
Yeah.
about distractions or you want to talk about your mind being blank and how you bring it back?
Okay, let's talk about distractions first, because I think it's much easier to
Okay,
get distraction with like
right.
social media and stuff like that, right? So so let's talk about distractions first.
Okay,
What are the more
the
common distractions? Huh?
I'll give you a theory of the how the mind works and in relation to distractions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why do you get distracted? Because of outside interference.
Right.
So, therefore, if you do not want to get involved in those interferences,
Mm-hmm.
so you isolate yourself, go somewhere, uh, away from that's why people whenever they want to do a project or plan for a project by using their mind power, they always go to somewhere serene,
Hmm.
like some places natural, to
Maybe just go to the
nature.
park and walk.
Yeah, yeah, park to walk if the park is not too noisy
Right.
and there's not too many people. Normally, we would love to go to the forest, the jungle.
Maybe
You
go for a
know,
hike.
yeah, we go for hike. But then the problem is that when you go to for hike, do you go alone or you go with friends?
Hmm. I think most people will go in a group, right? You don't
Most people
usually.
are going in a group.
Yeah.
Then that's not an ideal way to drop distraction off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so normally last time when I wanted to think of something, what I did was, have you heard of solo camping?
You just camp alone.
Yeah, just go and camp alone. Just go to some secluded place, pitch
Uh-huh.
your tent up, camp alone.
Where's
Okay.
your the camp of choice for you?
Oh, of course, in my hometown, I come from Setiawan Perak, and we've got three beautiful hills to hike,
Ooh la la.
and
That, how does it look like?
overlooking the sea.
Oh, any waterfall?
A lot of waterfalls.
Wow.
You got small ones, you got big ones. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the famous one is at what we call as 301 or something like that in
Uh-huh.
Lumut,
But even in
Hutan.
sorry, even when like in the jungle, right? There also can be distractions, right? Like I mean, all of a sudden a bird doesn't like you and it comes and peck on you and stuff like that.
No such thing lah. The bird will be more afraid of you than you of them.
Right.
Even snakes won't come near you.
Mm-hmm.
And all this thing about snake bites and all this, it rarely
Uh-huh.
happens. You know.
Right. I see. I see.
So like you want to get off distractions. There's in KL itself. There's a lot of places. Have you heard of Frim?
Oh yeah, frame.
I think we went there one day, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good place to reflect, and or you can lock yourself in the room and start if you are if you are capable enough, go into the meditative state lah.
But some people are afraid of that, because um sometimes being alone with yourself with your own thoughts can be very intimidating. I mean, for a lot of people that is like people choose to be distracted just to stay away from their own thoughts. And what do you think of that?
If you choose to be distracted, you're correct lah. Then you attract distractions.
Hmm. But
So
for
the
why is it for some people it's so hard to be alone with yourself and not just put away everything and close your eyes and just be in
there
your
are
own mind?
things there are things called phobia.
Hmm.
There are things called inferiority complex,
Right.
superiority complex, and all this, where all these needs you are looking for human interaction. Okay, and while look the human interaction is actually the biggest culprit of distractions.
Mm,
Yeah, so
I
it
see.
all depends on what you want. If you want something hard enough, you strive for it, I'm sure you're going to get it. So
Mm,
the where the mind is concerned, very important. A big factor of the mind science will be visualization.
hmm.
The mind can only you can only visualize the one thing at a time. you know.
Right.
So distractions come in whereby when you visualize of that thing, you want to visualize about other things. That's
Mm.
distractions, you know. That will
Mm.
keep your
I can
mind
see. I
away
I
from.
can see how it's. Sorry, I can see how that happens. Like for instance, let's say my dream car is let's say a Porsche Turbo S, right? And all of a sudden, at the side when I'm visualizing that, all of a sudden I also want to own let's say a mansion, and all of a sudden when I visualize the mansion, I also want that mansion to be at the seaside. And suddenly when I visualize the seaside, I also want let's say a jet ski, and then from a jet ski I also want a yacht, and it just goes on and on.
So what you do is you visualize your mansion by the seaside with a Porsche in your porch, and at the back there there's a jet ski and a yacht.
I
Yeah, you
see.
can visualize that picture. If you can paint the
Hmm.
picture and
Hmm.
visualize on it, that's why we say that the vision board is very important. Okay, what you can do is you can actually draw a picture, or take do a montage of
Hmm.
things, do
A
a montage
collage.
of your collage of
Yeah.
your mansion by the seaside, and you start pasting things around. You
Right.
put it in a place where you will focus on it the first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
Okay, and if you see it constantly enough, regularly enough, you'll definitely get it.
Right.
You'll definitely get it. But
But
it all depends. That there are, if we get deeper into it, and I don't want to talk about deeper things here, because let's get elementary, because there's no end. You see.
the deeper
So
one, you have to belanja. Was it? You have to belanja minum. Then
anytime, anytime, anytime. If you can get hold of us,
hmm.
no problem. We can belanja you.
Yeah. But
Okay, so
speaking about the mind, I also realized that we also have uh, like-minded people like us in the chat. So just wanted to welcome them, welcome in Michael as well as Christine. Lovely to have you guys here once again, and also those of you who are watching our videos instead. So let's carry on.
okay, you forgot to mention people like John Tan is also watching, stuff
Oh,
like that. Patricia is also watching.
I see, I see, I
So
see.
anyway, yeah, we are talking about the mind, and we started off with distractions, all right?
Mm-hmm,
So therefore, there are ways to destroy distractions.
mm-hmm.
In this case, negative and negative can override each other. So you can program your mind. Whenever you get distracted, you can distract the distraction.
Whoa!
Like, yeah, it's very heavy, right? Like for example, that's why the if you have a vision board,
Right.
and the moment you realize that you've got distracted, you paint it over. You superimpose your vision
Mm,
board on the top of the distraction.
right.
Now then you focus on the vision board.
But I think what the key thing that that you have mentioned, right, within all of this is the awareness, right? You first have to be aware that you are distracted.
Definitely, definitely, because uh, after a while, you definitely come back to your senses.
Mm. So it's like you let yourself. I mean, without realizing it, maybe you run through your mind, and all of a sudden you catch yourself, right? You're like, oh wait, aren't I supposed to be thinking of this one thing only?
Yeah,
And then
it is similar to, for example, reciting a mantra or saying a prayer and all this.
hmm.
Okay, very often, more often than that. In fact, almost everybody get distracted. You say a mantra, you say a prayer, right? And then suddenly you start getting distracted on something else. But then you come back to your realization that, hey, hello, I'm praying. So you get back into that state.
Hmm.
Okay, actually, the distraction is the you get if you go deeper into it, it is a change of state
Mm-hmm.
of mind. You see, you can have multiple states at one time, but the mind will focus on one thing at a time.
Right. And just wanted to clarify on this. And I believe that for people who are not religious, right, mantras can also mean affirmations, right?
That's right. That's right. This uh, the word affirmation is being actually designed for people who does not want to relate it to religion or
I
relate it
see.
to God. If you do not believe in God, okay, you can change the word God and give it a meaning of the universe. So instead of
Mm,
God, you call it the universe.
I
That's
see. I
why
see.
you see the mind science books. They always talk about the universe because they want to cover a more circular world.
Right. Right. And okay, let's switch it up a little bit. We've talked about distractions and how to counter them going into isolation and stuff like that. But what if, let's say, I am already, I'm in my solo camp or my solo walk, but I can't think of anything. It's just a mental block.
That is actually a blessing in disguise if you can reach there because a lot of people want to get into that stage. Okay, and that stage is especially why people would like to go to the main reason why people like to go to the meditative state. When
Mm,
you meditate, you clear your mind. You don't think of
mm,
anything, you think of nature. Or
right.
you are aware of the sound around you, you're aware of the birds chirping, you're aware of the monkeys, crying and stuff like that.
But you
That is
don't
the
get to
best.
visualize, right?
But then you do get to visualize because you are now one with nature.
Mm.
And when you are one with nature, you do not get easily get distracted.
So
Yeah, I'll give you an
distraction is much
example.
harder to to overcome than actually being, having a mental block.
Okay, we are still at distraction, right?
Sorry, I mean, I wanted
Distraction.
to say, yeah.
Okay, distraction is the number one factor why you cannot get your results.
Mm,
It's the number one factor. People do not get results because they are not focused.
right.
Like for example, a few of my friends, okay, they come to me and said, "Hey, chief, I'm doing this. Why am I not getting results?"
Mm-hmm.
They're doing 10 things at one time. Okay, one of them doing insurance, and then he wants to go into uh, labor supply and wants to come into different things, totally not related.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so for example, when you are thinking about your insurance,
Mm-hmm.
at the back of your mind there, you think about your labor supply and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, whatever you're
You,
doing,
you
right?
get what I mean?
You
So
split
and
your
then
attention everywhere.
okay, and then suddenly you see your friend pass by. Your friend is eating an ice cream. Now your distraction is the ice cream. But then in the jungle, in the forest, all you see is green.
Mm,
You do not see ice cream. You do not see people moving around and stuff like that as much as in town, in the city, and stuff
mm,
like that. So it all depends. But then
right.
again, it depends on your discipline itself. Lah.
Right.
Some people
Okay.
can, some people can, focus only in cafes
Mm-hmm.
with music,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
right? Some people can only focus when there's a lot of noise around them.
Oh, that's
They are
true.
capable of shutting down the voice and
Right,
focusing on.
it just becomes white noise for them, and it
So
makes helps them focus, right? It's
and
interesting.
there's a thing called VAK, visualistic and auditory and kinesthetic, right? It
Mm-hmm.
depends on which profile you belong to.
Right.
Okay, like for example, you are a visualistic person, so you will definitely get distracted with more with the things that you see rather than things that you hear,
Mm,
things like that. See. So uh,
I see.
the best thing is that the first thing, if you want to get extraordinary results, is that you got to understand yourself
Mm.
first.
And sorry for the. I just wanted to move on to what mental blocks, because early on you did mention that it's not that much of a. Sorry, I'm paraphrasing, but you
Yeah,
said you implied that mental blocks is not that much of an issue because a lot of people want to get into a state where they have their mind clear, right? But if let's say you
yeah,
have your mind clear,
yeah,
and okay, you visualizing a goal and you're trying to find a solution to that goal, you cannot you cannot think of anything for that.
correct,
Should people be
correct.
scared of that, or is it natural?
It's very, very natural. You get into this mental block, and the best thing you do is to go to sleep.
Hmm. So don't view it as something negative, right? Mental block.
You cannot force it.
Right.
Okay, the thing is that mental block happens when your subconscious mind shuts down.
Shuts down. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to use your conscious mind to to come out with creative things to start thinking.
Hmm.
But because your 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 subconscious mind, which is your actually your power bank and your how can I say your thoughts, banks of your thoughts, your previous thoughts get shut down. That's where you can start thinking of new things.
I
That's
see.
where the universe, okay, starts vibrating best on you.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot be on the normal state. You got to go down to the alpha stage, which is almost when you go to sleep, that your body vibrates at that resonance.
Okay.
Okay,
I think this one
that's
is a
a
bit
bit
deep.
deep, but the best thing to do is to
Basically, it's just
try
to
to
sleep,
go to sleep.
right?
Yeah,
I
let
see.
the
I
mind
see.
comes, and then most likely it will come in forms of dreams and stuff like that.
Hmm. Now, I wanted to ask you, right, since we're nearing the end of the show, maybe you could end it off with something, with a fun question, right? And what I mean by fun is that I wanted to ask you if you have any real life examples of people who just let the distractions destroy their life. Just wanted to paint the picture of how important it is to be aware of what we're distracted with. Do you have any examples?
So many examples. How do you think people start ending their life? You think they've got nothing? They think of nothing. They're blanks.
Hmm. Okay,
Why do
perhaps
people? What?
fun example is not that much of a not that accurate of, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that is the best example because when you are in a depression mode,
Right,
right? What happens is that your mind keep on thinking of all kinds of distractions.
right.
Okay, so that mode could be very dangerous,
Hmm.
and you may want to take your life because you cannot stand the pressure, you cannot stand the outcomes. What happens if you know everything comes at one time, and you cannot handle it? That's why you don't take your life away.
Hmm.
So on the other hand, on the other hand, now you want to, for example, start a new project, Yeah. And there's so many people come and tell you different ideas. How do you start?
Interesting. You
Let's say
mean
if
that
you got
that people give you different solutions to like their
yes,
opinion on how you should go about it, right?
and the fact is that let's say you've got 10 opinions, 10 people giving you 10 different opinions,
Hmm.
and all opinions are correct.
Hmm.
Now, how do you start? Where do you start?
Huh. That's a tough question.
That's a tough question, right?
Hmm.
But that's a good cause of it. You you ask them to come up with ideas, solutions. You got 10 solutions now. What do you do?
I mean, you have to consider each and every one of them, like the pros and cons of
Yeah,
each. You have to
exactly.
weigh in everything, right?
There's a lot going on in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you focus on it?
You have to eliminate all other distractions.
Correct. Okay, you got a point there. Now,
You.
what you have to
Mm,
do is to go back to the objective, to your goal post. What is your goal post? So, which is the easiest, easiest and fastest solution that can reach your goal? That
right.
is what the mind is all about. The mind will give you the best solution, the shortest time, the easiest path for you to reach it.
Mm-hmm.
I give you example, but it's very hypothetical. If you want to travel from KL to Ipoh, how many solutions can you have? Millions, right?
Can
You can
travel
take
by
a
car,
bicycle, you can take travel
airplane,
by car, airplane, all this,
helicopter. Right. Yeah.
helicopter. So what does your subconscious mind tell you? The subconscious mind will tell you the easiest part to go there. Okay, hello, drive
Probably
the
car.
car and go.
Yeah.
But now for yourself, right? Okay, you know one of the solution is driving the car, and you have already stated that the best solution is driving a car to Ipoh, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then the distraction comes in. Hey, what happens if you drive to the airport and take a plane there? Will it be faster? Will it be better? And all this. These are the distractions that comes in.
Mm.
Hey, instead of car, why don't now take a train? There's no
Mm.
traffic jams and all this. These are distractions, correct? Now, what happens is that your subconscious mind tells you to drive a car, you block all the distractions. You just go for it.
Right. I guess
You
some
know,
may
right?
say thinking too much.
Correct, correct, correct. You call it, some call it analysis paralysis.
Mm.
When you analyze too much, you become paralyzed.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that is quite an interesting one. I think there's much more that we can cover on this, but unfortunately, we're nearing the end of the show. But
Yep.
before that, we'd like to thank everyone, of our viewers, for tuning in into the Big Chief channel, as well as to another reminder is obligatory to everyone. We just have to say it. But you guys, the least you can do to appreciate us is just to like, share, and subscribe. So thank you for you guys for coming in. I really appreciate it. Big Chief, thank you for sharing about the mind. And once again, we are live every weekdays at 8:30 GMT plus 8. So do tune in the next round. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a lovely day, evening, wherever you are in the big wide world. Catch you guys next time. How?
How? Good night.